Meeting that is underway. EM Jaishankar meeting Taliban Foreign Minister Amir Muttaqi, who is in the national capital, as India reaffirms its ties with Kabul. Now, of course, the big question being asked, will India recognize Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan? Remember that the big statement made by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, who said that together the resolve is to fight cross-border terror. This, of course, marking the first high-level talks since the group's takeover in 2021, and now both nations exploring new diplomatic avenues as questions coming about on India's potential recognition of the Taliban government amidst regional tensions. We got you details of the meeting, the first high-level diplomatic engagement between Afghan Taliban and New Delhi since the group seized power in 2021. And this coming after 2 decades of US military Sanctions Committee approved an exemption to the travel ban imposed on him. As of course, we saw how a warm welcome was extended to the Afghan Foreign Minister Muttaqi on his arrival in the national capital. And of course, the message that was put out by India that we look forward to engaging discussions with him on bilateral relations and regional issues. That meeting that is very much underway, and as Taliban also putting it, that the ties are based on mutual respect. The UNSC committee that had approved a temporary exemption to the travel ban on the 30th of September, allowing Muttaqi to visit New Delhi from the 9th October to 16th. Now, this was a statement that was issued by UN, and this exemption that paved the way for the Afghan foreign minister to visit India. Let me cut across to Geeta Mohan, Foreign Affairs Editor, to put this into perspective. Most importantly, the question being asked, Geeta, will India recognize the Taliban government? All right, not too sure if Geeta is still connected with us. We'll try and reconnect that line. But New Delhi has been insisting that Afghan soil must not be used for any terror activities against our country. This, of course, coming in as top Taliban leader, who also ahead of Muttaqi's visit had said that it is time for both the governments to elevate the relationship by granting recognition to the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, the name that is used by the Taliban for the country. And now we see how diplomatic ties are being strengthened, as this is the first high-level visit by the foreign minister of Taliban to India. And this is extremely significant because Taliban has also said that they expect it will initiate a new phase of relations between the two countries. I believe Geeta Mohan is back with us. Geeta, the big question that is being asked, will India recognize the Taliban government? What are your thoughts on it, and given what you're hearing from your sources?
Well, as of now, the fact that there has been a lot of forward movement has to also do with the changing geopolitical conditions. But beyond that, to say that the Indian administration will soon recognize the Taliban administration, well, there are certain conditions, and the first and foremost condition has been the rights for women, equality for women, and the conditions of women in Afghanistan. That certainly needs to improve, and there have been conversations that have been taking place on a regular basis between India and Afghanistan on this very matter. Apart from that, the visit again is in itself very important because India has been engaging Afghanistan, given the importance of Afghanistan at this point in time, at this juncture, in the changing geopolitical circumstances. Dr. Jaishankar highlighted the fact that the condemnation of Pahalgam terror attack is significant for India, and that India continues to be a first responder for Afghanistan when it comes to calamities and serious conditions and situations, be it the earthquake or, for that matter, even before that, when conditions had become rather dire after the withdrawal of American troops from Afghanistan. The meeting comes at a time when there are many countries that are engaging Afghanistan, but over here there could be conversation and forward movement that we'd see on the road connectivity and pipeline connectivity between India and Afghanistan onwards to Central Asia. And if that happens, that will be a game changer, because India has to strengthen its oil and energy supply lines and not be dependent on one country or another region in totality. The wars, the conflict, again, and the positions taken by the United States of America and the Trump administration have made it incumbent on Indian administration to start looking at alternatives, and this certainly is again one very important security and also energy security alternative.
Oh yes, absolutely. And Geeta, while you give us the macro picture, let's also delve into it bit by bit. Given how this is being looked at as India's strategic move to counter regional rivals Pakistan and China, and signs coming in of how Pakistan is already panicking.
Well, to be pragmatic and very, very practical about it, look, there have been attacks that took place as soon as Muttaqi landed in New Delhi. And then there was Pakistani action that took place in Afghanistan. So yes, Kabul and Islamabad right now don't see eye to eye. There are problems that are simmering between the two countries, but exploiting that will not be an advantage to India, because India should look at Indian interests, and Indian interests lie in remaining engaged as it did even when they had very good ties. Because today Muttaqi is here, and while we might celebrate the fact that Pakistan could be concerned about it, tomorrow he could very well be in Islamabad. So for India, the focus should remain strategic and India's national interest, and in that, India has not faltered in engaging Afghanistan in the past when they had good or very, very bad ties with Pakistan. With the Taliban, India has had very complicated, multi-layered relationship where we never recognized the Taliban in the past. But now, given the fact that the West has completely reconciled to the fact that this is an administration that's here to stay, India has recalibrated and realigned itself with its interests in Afghanistan, its projects in Afghanistan, investments in Afghanistan, and again, like I said, the connectivity, the brilliant connectivity that India could have from through Afghanistan into the whole of Central Asia. And that is India's focus and interest, and is in India's interest. So India will engage Afghanistan. But in terms of recognizing the Taliban, there have been conversations with Russia as well, Russia being the one country that has recognized the Taliban administration. China has opened an embassy in Islamabad, or reopened the embassy in Islamabad. But for India, I suppose there are still some conditions that have to be met with. And India in all probability will go with a bloc where when we see incremental forward movement in rights for women, that would be an indicator of forward movement towards recognizing the Taliban administration.